Hello and welcome to another episode of Another Look, our news and review podcast where we talk about all the news that's been developing, breaking, taking place across the Shenandoah Valley, the northern Shenandoah Valley, I should say. I'm Dylan Nicholls, the news director here at the River 95.3 and Sports Radio 1450. She is Janet Michael, host of The Valley Today. Janet, it's been a hectic day today.
Hello.
It's been a hectic holiday day. So Janet, you were pre-recorded for today.
Oh yeah.
But I looked on the calendar and was like, oh no, because I saw that you had a 2 to 3. No, you don't have multiple pre-records today, though, do you?
So yesterday was
Yeah.
I had a pre-record from 10 to 11.
Yeah.
Had my show to do live from 12:30 to 1.
That was the crazy
And
day.
then had another pre-record from 2 to 3. So at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, I was recording today's show.
Yeah.
At 12:30, I did the show live. And then at 2 o'clock, I recorded next Friday's show.
No, that's right. Today's show was Sutphin.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And I recorded him yesterday morning at 10.
So here's my question, because you have done a bunch of pre-records this week.
And still have one more to do.
And a lot, and they're almost all for like next week.
Yes.
And so we already get Christmas Eve and Christmas off.
Yes.
And then those 3 days. Janet, take the days. You're pre-recorded now for those 3 days. Take the days.
I know I will take Wednesday because I know I can get all of my stuff in the system for Wednesday.
Yeah. But
But I'll probably come in on Thursday. We have to do another look next Thursday.
we do, but I mean, they would forgive us for a holiday.
Well, what are we going to do the following week when you're on vacation?
Not another look.
So, yeah, you're screwing me here now.
I want to hear what this solo Janet episode sounds like. I want to hear like the Janet and you know what I want it to be like?
I could do that. That would be funny. I could talk to myself.
I want it to be like Lord of the Rings. Like, you know, like
I've
Gollum.
never seen Lord of the Rings.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Janet, well, you're missing out. Ugh. Well, what else? See, something where the person's talking to themselves like a madman. What is that movie?
I could do that.
Yeah, you could do that, and we could shoot it in a way. I could get Lonnie with the camera to shoot it in a way to make it look like you're talking to yourself. Just back and forth shots, just neglect the 180 rule. And
You mean pretty much like what I do in the car on the way home when I leave here every day. I can't believe he said this. And you know what I should have said to him? I should have said this. But no, what do? I just smiled and sucked it up.
We're the best, Janet. That's right, Janet. We are the best.
That would be funny.
Yeah, that would
so
be
here
really
are my headlines, and here's what I want to know. What do you think, Dylan? Oh, wait. What do you hear? Silence.
I think it would be funny for like a whole 5 minutes, and then I would slowly tune out the podcast and just wouldn't be able to listen to anymore. But Janet, we've got a lot of stories across the wee little Shenandoah Valley this sleepy Christmas season. What do you got on your plate?
I got drug arrests, child endangerment, vehicle crashes, bomb threats, and a new middle school. Well, sort of.
I'm not talking about your personal life, Janet. I'm talking about the news.
And then I have, because, it was so well received several episodes ago, my dumb news today is another public service announcement.
Oh, God.
Because, what was the last public service announcement? It was from the CDC warning people not to reuse condoms, that they are one use only. Today,
I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think that is like maybe one of the most well-reasoned announcements the CDC has ever made. Because the people who are dumb enough to reuse condoms really should have as much birth control education as possible. So we don't have to deal with those offspring. You know what I mean? Like, we should just be advising them to we should send them chastity belts with instructions from IKEA.
A friend of mine who's an attorney, she and I years ago were having this whole random conversation about how we could fix a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a whole birth control, conception, problem solving.
You had a round table.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we came up with the perfect solution to it all.
Oh, good.
It kind of infringes on somebody's, personal rights and things like that. But, these are people that probably shouldn't have those rights.
Janet, if you were given the opportunity, a genie came down from the sky. Janet, would you like to be the dictator of a small country?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I knew it.
But it would have to be a country that's surrounded by water because I'd want to live near a beach. I'd want to live, where I could see the ocean and have access to just throw the people overboard that didn't, obey my every command.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you can make those people make the beach for you.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of live in my own little civilization. Hannah from the station here sent me a Facebook friend request the other day, and she had deleted her Facebook. I was concerned maybe her old account had been hacked. Sent her a text, said, hey, did you just send me a Facebook friend request? She said, yeah, I'm back on Facebook. I said, okay, I shall now accept you into my Facebook kingdom.
Oh, you have a Facebook kingdom.
I do.
Wow.
And you're a part of my kingdom.
I am a part of your kingdom.
You are.
I guess that makes me a subject, though. I don't know if I want that. Yeah, your friends list in your head, you just see.
The thing is, if you can be my Facebook friend. I'm fairly selective. I've got like 14 people that are still hanging out there that I haven't confirmed. A lot of them my husband's family, but that's a whole another show.
Oh, so you got okay.
But it's whether or not you can send me a message. Because in Messenger, you can block people from sending you private messages on Messenger. So if you have the ability to send me a message on Messenger, then you are truly part of the inner circle. If you try to send me a message on Messenger and you can't,
you might be
off the island.
Yeah. If I cared, Janet, I would check right now.
Yeah. I don't even remember.
I so don't actually like. The funny thing is, I never use my Facebook. So I have like. I bet a bunch of people actually think like, God, he's judging me so hard. He hasn't accepted yet. He knows me. Like this jerk. Like he thinks he's better than me, doesn't he? I just don't check it. I don't.
Yeah. Well, and I am a professional Facebook person. I mean, I manage several pages. I never look at my own personal page.
Yeah.
And I disabled Messenger years ago because all of my stupid friends that I mistakenly allowed into the kingdom do these group messages about the most idiotic crap and parties and nonsense they're having. So now when I accept you as a friend, I sit for a second and think, okay, do I want to get a message from this person? And if I don't, I immediately go and remove you from the person able to send me a message.
Totally. If I can send messages, I am now officially going to abuse that right.
I'll just block you.
Yeah. I can't wait. The second it happens, I'm going to be like, yes. Yeah. I did it. Well, as usual, we've completely lost focus in the first segment.
Yeah.
But
this is just a lead up to losing focus in the second, third, and fourth segment.
Exactly. This is our little refresher. But I'll go ahead. Basically, what I'm going to cover is did you have Ayler?
I have Ayler.
Yeah, I have it too. So
I said it first.
Okay, fine. She said it first, so we'll let her cover Ayler.
Yeah, it's my kingdom.
What I'm going to cover is in Warren County, the Planning Commission just recommended approval of a wireless tower in the Happy Creek district.
You and your towers.
Me and my tower. I was just getting over Chantel, that heartbreak, and now Happy Creek, here you are. So, there's always another fish in the sea. And we've got that. We've also got kind of a scandalous story that there are very few details on, but I want to just touch on it and summarize it. Where a handling teacher has been accused of a sexual relationship with a student. That came out earlier this week. And also, we've got some transportation news. We've got a study that shows need for Shenandoah County public transportation. And we have something that the VTCA, what does that stand for, Janet?
The Virginia Transportation Committee of America.
That's pretty close. I actually don't remember, so I'm
Nice.
I know. But the VTCA did go ahead and do a poll with public opinion strategies. I've got the poll here. It's on I-81.
It's a contractors association. It's all coming back to me now. I had to find them so we could follow them on Twitter.
Yeah. See, you just had your Robert Nash moment. Like the numbers were floating behind my head. So we have that poll. We have all the results of that poll. They went ahead and polled 500 people that live along the I-81 corridor, asked them what they thought of improvements. Pretty incredible responses.
They didn't ask me.
Well,
I'm not in Shenandoah County.
Yeah. I mean, it will
have a border wall.
Yeah, they're saying specific. The delirium begins.
It is. Oh, I haven't even been here 3 hours, and I'm delirious. I'm not sure what's going on.
You know what the problem is with our station is that people go to work to kind of get away from the craziness of politics and the news. But every hour at the top of the hour, we get national news playing in this place at full blast. So we have to listen to all the craziness of politics.
Yeah. Well, you're my political muse. I don't get to talk about it at home because my husband is a political atheist. So I got to talk about it somewhere.
I'm starting to subscribe to that. Did you see the Dow today?
The entertainment value, though.
Yeah.
Really?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so we've got all that to cover. We won't touch on politics anymore. I swear. I swear to you. I swear. Hand of God. Hand of God.
Well, you won't.
All right. Janet will talk about politics, but we'll also touch on I-81 when we come back with some more Another Look.
It's an award-winning lunch hour every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
Hello, it's Janet again. In addition to producing podcasts for the River 953 and our clients, I also host a show every weekday on the air from 12:30 to 1 called The Valley Today. It's a community conversation where I chat with local business owners, nonprofits, government agencies, and residents about what's happening up and down the Shenandoah Valley. You can hear the show live each day on the radio, you can listen live from our website, or you can listen to the podcast of the show each afternoon on our website at theriver953.com from the Valley Today page. You can even subscribe to the podcast in the Apple Podcast app or the Google Play Music Store and have it delivered directly to your phone once it's published. So join me for a conversation this week. And if you're interested in being a guest or advertising in that podcast, send me an email to janet@theriver953.com. And now, back to the podcast.
And we're back with some more Another Look. Our news and I keep forgetting I don't have to reintroduce it. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
You only have to do it with the radio show. So forget it. You know what it is.
Well, it's only because during those breaks, where most people think, I wonder, are they really taking a break? Oh, yeah. We just covered politics and the Dow and HBO and True Detective Season 3. And then, wait, we got to go back to this. We better tell them who we are.
True Detective Season 3 is coming out.
I know.
What's his name? Marshala Ali?
Yes.
Is that his name? Moonlight?
Yes.
House of Cards? That guy's fantastic. I can't wait to see this stuff.
I'm pretty excited. And I didn't think Season 2 was as horrible as everybody else said. It wasn't as good as Season 1, but it wasn't horrible.
We got a bunch of Twitter morons out there. That's what we got. We got a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about. Season 2 was a damn good season of television. I don't care what anybody says, and if you don't think so, you weren't paying attention. You were looking at your phone, live tweeting it. That's why you didn't like it.
So, during that break, we were talking about potentially watching it together here at the station and doing a podcast. So maybe we could just do the podcast live while we're watching it.
That would be cool, too.
So, if that interests you, send us a message.
Send us a message.
Yeah.
Comment below.
Comment below.
Yeah, there you go. All right, are you going first or am I going first with the Shen Valley news?
Go. You were dying to talk about these poll numbers.
I love polls. Now, unfortunately, this one's not about Beto. It's not about Mitch. It's not about any of my usual
joint.
It's not about any of my usual friends. It's about I-81. I-81 has been the long-detested ginger stepchild of interstates in Virginia, and it's hated in the Shenandoah Valley, especially the northern Shenandoah Valley, and those boys up in Frederick County are just fed up. They finally got their lane additions for the portion of I-81 between exits 313 and 317. That's finally looks like it's going to go through and go before the House of Delegates in their first session in January, so yay for that. But what the VTCA ended up doing is they ended up going ahead and doing a poll on I-81 and what actual people living along I-81 think about the I-81 corridor, where they stand on it, where they stand on funding for it, all that different stuff. And the important thing about this is that it is very political, this poll they did. And
really?
And I'll explain that in a second. But first, just the general facts about how people feel about I-81. They went ahead and asked people to give a report card rating on the I-81 corridor. And people went ahead, nearly 45%, nearly half of them, gave it a D or F grade.
I would have given it a D or an F.
Overall, it earned a 1.6 GPA based upon their system.
Wow.
Which is a D plus average. So, credit for trying.
That's still a bit high.
A third of people gave it a C rating. I probably would have given it a C, to be honest.
Because you've never driven on it in Shenandoah County.
Honey, I went to JMU.
Don't do that.
I was down and I went on A81 every damn weekend or every other one. No, I never thought it was that bad. I just hated the truckers. But I never had a terrible... No, I did have a terrible exit because I would get off 66 directly on I-81. That was a really bad exit.
That is the worst place. There should be a letter below F.
I mean, maybe it's
that
because,
exit.
When you're young, though, and you're in college, it's like, you kind of have like a Mad Max attitude towards the road anyways. Like, everything's an adventure, so maybe it's just my mentality. But get this, 6% of people actually gave it an A.
And again, they probably don't even know where 81 is.
But they live along the I-81 corridor, so they have to know. I was kind of amazed that it did as well as it did. D+. Good for you, I-81. But now 56% of voters say they do not feel safe when traveling on I-81.
I agree.
While 43% when presented with that question said they do feel safe.
And they're the ones the other 56% are worried about.
Well put. Yeah. 43% of these polled drive semi-trucks.
Yes.
No, but older voters in particular do not feel safe. Of course, you would think that. Only 37% of voters ages 55 to 64 feel safe, while 63% do not. And only 35% of seniors feel safe on there. So that's all stuff that you would think. Now, here's where it gets political. Boom, boom.
You said you weren't going to talk politics ever anymore. The rest of the podcast, hand to God, I believe you said.
Well, you know what, Janet? Kumbaya. Because
Kumbaya, because it's over.
this is an issue that both Republicans and Democrats agree on ostensibly. And
shut your mouth.
No, and if you think about it, because even on the national stage, I mean, Republicans are usually a little more fiscally conservative, but they're always for infrastructure projects. That's a huge platform of the Republican Party. And 89% of Republicans support proposed improvements, and 92% of Democrats support them. So they're in line there. Now, this was an interesting number, too. And let me find this. 3/4 of people say they would be more likely to vote for a state legislator who supports funding improvements to I-81. So you see Republicans and Democrats united on the I-81 issue, and 3/4 of all people polled, these are registered voters that they polled 500 of them along the I-81 corridor, said that they would vote for a state legislator who supports funding the improvement. All of this points towards when this finally hits the House of Delegates in January with the improvement to Frederick County, which we managed by actually, and congratulations, Frederick County, using your voices.
Yeah.
If Frederick County's Transportation Committee was upset about this, people were upset. They were speaking out. They sent letters. And
they had public hearings. I mean, it was a whole thing.
And the CTB listened, and the CTB put it in, and now it's going before the legislators, and now VTCA went ahead and did this poll to prove to legislators, yeah, the voters want this. You're going to be in the 25% minority if you don't vote for this, and voters will remember this. So it looks like we're going to get this thing. And
so Frederick County has already gotten everything they need to do, and it's definitely going for a vote in January. Where does Shenandoah County stand? Is that all part of the same thing, or does Shenandoah County now have to put together the same thing Frederick County's already done and get it before January?
Well, it's universal. The bill itself is universal improvements to I-81.
Okay.
So I'm not sure which improvements exactly Shenandoah County might or might not get. I just know that Frederick County was, especially in the northern Shenandoah Valley, a point of contention because it's in the northern Shenandoah Valley, the most congested point of I-81 is up there where all those exits are. And in particular, when people heard that spot between 313 and 317 might not get those extensions and those lane additions, they were upset. So they at least got it. I don't know exactly what improvements will come to the Shenandoah Valley or Shenandoah County portion of I-81, but
hey,
it's
moving forward, which is the key.
It's chugging along, and so it looks like what did we say? 2020. The last few times we were talking about this were the estimates that we might actually see these improvements. So. Hey, it's happening. Thank God.
And it's better than a tube. I was watching the news last night, and Elon Musk was doing a little ride along for these cars to go in these tubes that are supposed to go up to 150 miles an hour. And they let one of the team from Dateline or whatever Lester Holt does on the news go, and the car barely reached 45 miles an hour.
Now, am I the only one that thinks that whole idea is absolutely moronic?
It is the most ridiculous thing ever. First of all, it's in California, and you're in a tunnel under the ground in the most earthquake-prone state in the country.
Mm-hmm.
No. Not happening. They don't even have skylights. I mean, you can't. There's no daylight down there at all.
Why did they pick that? Why didn't they pick Chicago or something to launch this? I don't get that. And beyond that, too, it's they paid $10 million for 1 mile of this thing.
Yeah.
And to get into it, your car has to be lowered down. And it's single lane.
Yeah.
And it's creepy as all hell.
Yeah.
And right now...
And your car is put on a platform. So what if that platform that your car is on is zipping along and then something happens?
Yeah.
Does the car on the platform behind you that is also zipping along know it better stop before it rams into the car that is stopped?
I mean, who's going to queue up for that platform. Because there's one platform that leads to a single car tunnel. So how cost effective is it to get enough tunnels where enough cars would be like, this is an easy way to get through all this traffic?
And who's going to control all that? I mean, we have air traffic controllers that can't even keep planes in the sky. So who is going to be in control of the cars in the tunnel?
It's going to be Elon Musk using an app on his smartphone. He'll play us like Angry Birds. That's how he'll
Oh my God, I can totally see that.
That's got to be the title. I'm making that the title of this episode. He'll play us like Angry Birds. Boom, done. We were talking about Shenandoah County and what their transportation needs. Well, another study was conducted that shows that Shenandoah County actually has huge public transportation needs. The study was conducted because basically Shenandoah County Chamber came to the Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission, and the Northern Shenandoah Valley Regional Commission hired consulting firm KFH Group, and they began the study in September of 2018. And basically what they found was that they spoke to a bunch of human agency representatives, they spoke to business leaders, they spoke to 26 in all employers, and took surveys from 26 employers and took surveys from 1,100 people in all. And what people responded with basically was just, there's a lot of us who do not drive, can't afford a car. There are seniors who can't drive anymore, people with disabilities that can't drive, and they basically found that the biggest priorities are people who are looking for employment but don't have cars, can't drive. We've talked about this with Alice before. Asset limited, income constrained, but employed. And so they have a job they're trying to get to, but they don't have a car. They can't afford a car, or they can't afford gas. And, if you're in the Shenandoah Valley, and in particular Shenandoah County, and there's no public transportation,
more
everything's
rural
spread
and
out.
much larger,
how are you going to make that work? And it's unlikely that you're going to make that work. So it's just it was good that study went ahead and happened because the NSVRC and KFH Group, which conducted the study, they're both going to return to the Board of Supervisors in a few months, and they'll brief them on potential public transit models and give them cost estimates for future projects that could actually alleviate this.
Yep, and that could be bus service, that could be trolley service, that could be any number of other options that the county themselves could do.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's that's exciting stuff.
Underground tunnels with,
I would love to see that. I think that's probably the most cost-effective way. If I'm thinking about it, either that or maybe personal helicopters, helicopter chauffeurs.
That would be so cool.
But they all have to land on the same pad.
Yeah, because we have to keep it consistent.
Yeah. Unit B, loiter. Yeah, I can see that working. Folks, just when you thought the Chantal worries were behind us, we've got another cell tower. It's a wireless tower, and it's been proposed by Maztec Network Solutions on behalf of Verizon Wireless, and it would go basically near the intersection. It's in Warren County, and it would go near the intersections of Morgan Ford and Dismal Hollow roads, and it's not really receiving any resistance. It'd be about 200 feet tall.
Who doesn't want cell service?
Yeah, exactly. And what it seems like here is that it seems kind of tucked away and like it's not going to bother too many people aesthetically and all that stuff. And the Planning Commission just recommended that supervisors approve it. It's going to go before the supervisors on January 22nd. But, of course, for the Planning Commission to give that recommendation, they had to hold a public hearing on that. And there was only one person who spoke out on it. And the person who spoke on it, the things that you would expect. Health concerns, because it's a big tower and cell stuff and all that stuff. And they also had aesthetic concerns, how it would look. They actually had an attorney, though.
But that person has a flip phone.
But they had somebody representing Maztec, and they addressed all of those concerns right there in the meeting. That's what these things are for. That's what these hearings are for. The recommendation went through. There were several conditions that the Planning Commission recommended, and among those were that Warren County be allowed to place 3 antennae of its own on the tower. That would actually help fire and rescue services.
Yep, for emergency services.
Yes, so that's good. And also that they would maintain a natural forest barrier that exists around the site, which is part of the aesthetic thing. So there are some conditions. This seems very reasonable. This is no cell tower in the park that everyone's nervous about. What's this going to look like? Is this going to obstruct our view? Is this going to obstruct our experience? All that stuff. So
yeah, I just looked at my phone. I have one teeny tiny bar.
Yeah.
And where they're proposing this cell tower is probably less than 5 miles from where we're sitting here at the station.
We have the worst signal in this office.
Yeah.
And it's, it's cut me off like time and time again when I'm trying to get actualities, when I'm trying to interview people. So it's,
It's always about you.
Yeah. And my job is the most important. And so for that to happen to me, it's
it's a terrible crime. Terrible.
Devastating. So other than that, I just want to touch on this because it's very newsworthy, but there's very little to say. So I wanted to end with this. They're a Hanley High School teacher, and they're making it sound like an existing teacher was accused of having a sexual student relationship during the 2012-2013 school year. This is Hanley High School, and basically it was brought to the attention of law enforcement by a third party. It's unclear who that is.
Parent.
Yeah, it's unclear who that is in relationship
or some dude
to the
who
student.
wanted to be boinking the teacher and couldn't, and now he's going to get even. And that's a very professional way of putting it.
5 years later. Yeah.
Now that he's of legal age, he realizes how wrong it was that this was all happening. Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It's probably a parent. Or a family member, who knows what. Basically what this meant was the Winchester Police Department detectives worked to identify, locate, and interview the now adult male victim and talk to him. An investigation is ongoing. There are no other allegations involving current or former students and this teacher. This appears to be the only one right now. No arrests have been made, nothing like that, and the investigation is ongoing.
And the teacher still is employed at Hanley, or do you know?
Oh, God. And see, this is the thing. I don't think they were dismissed. I have to double check that because I forgot to actually print that out.
Yeah, they're probably on paid administrative leave or some nonsense that, Well,
this is the problem, is that they're not identifying the teacher. So it's very sensitive. You're not really giving any information. It's kind of, the administration's like a brick wall right now. So we know what we know, and it's very important too that in case this allegation has no basis, that the teacher's career in life isn't ruined on the basis of this accusation too. So they're being very sensitive in the way they handle this, but a really interesting story. So just want to make you aware of that. But now we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back,
you just don't want me to talk about Hanley.
And when we come back, we've got Janet and the Janet Show. It's her portion.
It's what everybody's really been waiting for.
It's what everybody's really been waiting for. We're all ecstatic. We're all just smoking with anticipation. So
drugs and bomb threats, man.
Oh, all the good stuff. When we come back with some more Another Look.
Hello, it's Janet again. In addition to producing podcasts for the River 953 and our clients, I also host a show every weekday on the air from 12:30 till 1 called The Valley Today. It's a community conversation where I chat with local business owners, nonprofits, government agencies, and residents about what's happening up and down the Shenandoah Valley. You can hear the show live each day on the radio, you can listen live from our website, or you can listen to the podcast of the show each afternoon on our website at theriver953.com from the Valley Today page. You can even subscribe to the podcast in the Apple Podcast app or the Google Play Music Store and have it delivered directly to your phone once it's published. So join me for a conversation this week. And if you're interested in being a guest or advertising in that podcast, send me an email to janet@theriver953.com. And now, back to the podcast.
It's an award-winning lunch hour every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
And we're back with some more Another Look. It's the Janet portion. That's right, what you've all been waiting for. Janet's take on all of the delicate situation, all of the breaking news going on in Shenandoah Valley. Janet, what do you got?
Let's start with the child endangering drug dealers. 2 arrested for drugs, child endangerment in Warren County. And the irony of the fact that they were living at 116 Rambo Court was not lost on me, by the way.
I have no idea why it's named Rambo Court. Is there an actual Rambo? Is Rambo the character named after like a general or something? Is that where that comes from?
You've never seen the Sylvester Stallone movie Rambo?
No, I have seen it, but did they actually name a street in Winchester after Rambo the character? Or is Rambo the character named after like a Civil War general? That seems likely to me. Anyways, we're going down a rabbit hole. Fine. Talk about your drug dealers. Fine.
So deputies from the Warren County Sheriff's Office responded to 116 Rainbow Court in Linden after receiving a 911 call at 3:56 p.m., informing them that a cardiac arrest was occurring there and that an unattended infant was inside the home. When they arrived, they found 39-year-old Misty Morris on the porch of her home. After assessing her condition, Deputy Stevens administered doses of naloxone, and gave Morris CPR until she regained full consciousness. Inside the home, deputies also found and detained 32-year-old Ashley Secor of 141 Paw Paw Drive, who was discovered locked inside a basement bathroom.
No, I had to change the phrasing of that, and yeah, it seemed dumb to me, but I'm trying to be like so careful about how I phrase all this. I said locked inside a basement bathroom.
Did she lock herself in there, or
you
did
would
somebody
think, because
else?
I don't think any bathroom door has a lock on the outside. I don't think anyone designed something like that. I think they always put the lock on the inside, so I assume she locked herself in, and especially if she knows that somebody's calling 911, or if she's trying to do drugs or whatever she's trying to do privately or whatever. But she turned out to be the mother.
Yeah, well, that's what, because when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, all right, so did this, Misty Morris take this baby and then lock its mother in a bathroom in the basement and then overdose on drugs?
Yeah,
it's because this is a Law and Order episode just waiting to happen.
No, basically, it sounds like I believe it was Misty's house. And this other woman who, what was her name on there? It was
Misty Morris and Ashley Secor.
Yeah. And so,
although I'm sure you probably pronounced it wrong on the air.
Well, I said Secor. It looks like Secor to me. It doesn't look like Secor. But it's basically she was in the bathroom, locked inside. That's where they found her. They found Misty in cardiac arrest on the porch.
Now, was that due to a drug overdose? And because it said he administered the naloxone, which is typically what they do to bring you back from a heroin overdose.
It's implied, and they never clarified that, but it's sort of implied that, it must have been a drug overdose, and they were arrested for drug possession, I believe, and also child endangerment because their infant, who I believe was 13 months old, was left alone and unattended on the top floor of the house. And so I think a neighbor made the call and called 911 and brought them to that property, but I'm glad you brought that up, because another story that I was working on was about the McShin Foundation coming to RSW Regional Jail.
Right.
The McShin Foundation.
Sure,
I can
easy
talk.
for you to say.
Blah, blah, blah. It's great. It's a recovery resource foundation for addicts, people with substance use disorders, and it's based out of Richmond. And what they've done is they've gone to a bunch of different jails and instituted their program there. And the main thing of their program is peer-to-peer support, and they bring volunteers who are actually themselves recovering substance use disorder people to come in and work with these inmates who are still trying to work through their own problems in the jail itself, so that they can tackle them while they're in there and use that time wisely while they have the time, and hopefully reform themselves by the time they get out, so that they're not tempted to sort of stray down that path again and go through all the same mistakes that they went through again. So that is finally installed in RSW Regional Jail, which is great. They also have a bunch of recovery books for these guys, DVDs, a lot of resources that they can take advantage of. And it was a big event because they had a big event Friday, and its first fully functional day was Monday. But on Friday, they had Virginia Attorney General Mark Herring came, and Delegate Todd Gilbert came. And they spoke to inmates there. They had conversations with them. They saw how the program kind of works and kind of got like a run-through on it. So really interesting stuff. Really great for the Shenandoah Valley. And, great when you read stories like this that something's being done about it.
Oh, yeah.
And that
all happened after this incident. So in theory, Misty and Ashley were probably there and can potentially now take advantage of this program because they were being held without bond at the RSW Regional Jail.
Yeah.
So, and this incident happened on the 13th, and that happened on the 18th. So, in
they
theory,
actually may very well be able to take advantage of it, which would be great.
As tacky as it sounds, their timing was great.
Does sound tacky, but not wrong. They can really take advantage of that program. So, what else we got, Janet?
All right. So, what do you know about this accident on 37 earlier this week that snarled traffic for hours and hours? I have to tell you, we had my husband's company Christmas party was, I don't even know what night this was on. It was on Friday night in Boyce, and everybody was late to the Christmas party because everybody was sitting in this traffic backup from this accident on 37 that apparently involved a Frederick County Sheriff's deputy.
Yeah, I was able to cover this on Monday because it happened Friday afternoon, evening as I was getting off. So I basically just sent out a quick email, made a quick call. It was in my inbox when I came in the next week on Monday morning, and I covered it then. But basically, it was a 6-vehicle crash, but it was instigated by one vehicle that was driving erratically. And basically, the incident occurred on Route 37 southbound between the Winchester Medical Center and the Route 50 exits. It shut down the road for 2 hours, and multiple witnesses said that they saw this 7th vehicle that instigated the crash, caused all these 6 cars to crash into one another. And 6 people in all were sent to the Winchester Medical Center. I think it was out of a total of 8 who were in the 6 cars. 6 of them were sent. One of them included Kristen E. Bradford, who is a deputy at the Frederick County Sheriff's Office.
And she had to be cut out of her car.
She had to be cut out of her car and then taken to the hospital. She was treated for a concussion. So, I mean, crazy. Yeah. Insane. And I actually remember because I was sitting in my office and I heard Mike Odell on the phone with Kathy saying like, hey, I just saw this. Like, this is pretty bad. It was somebody who was calling into the stock report from Edward Jones. I thought it was Mike based on the way Kathy was talking to him. But what did you hear about this?
I had heard that I didn't hear about, different vehicles. I had heard that the deputy had the accident, that she had crashed. Now, whether that was due to anything else, I don't know, but that a tractor trailer actually hit her car. And that she had to be cut out, but it took Frederick County Fire and Rescue several minutes not to necessarily get her cut out of the car, but to get to her in the vehicle because of all the other cars that were around her that they needed to get out of the way in order to get their equipment to her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, while the road was closed, I think, for 2 hours, the backup lasted for several hours because it all bottlenecked right there, and it was a hot mess.
Yeah, even if the road opens back up, sometimes it's single lane, and then because there's so much traffic there, it's congested for hours afterwards. So it's just crazy. I mean, I see too many. I feel like I'm.
And 37 is usually, you and I've had so many conversations. We just talked about it in the first segment about 81. I do not drive on 81. I will ride in the car on 81 if my husband forces me to and he's driving. I don't have a problem driving on 37. Speed limit's 65. Yeah. But 37 has less traffic. There are less exits on and off of 37, so it doesn't seem like it's as congested and dangerous.
Feels safer.
But this particular place here at the hospital is a little confusing because you have on-ramps merging into traffic that are also off-ramps for the next exit, so it does get a little wonky. And it was pouring down rain that night. Yeah. That was the night that we got all of that heavy rain.
That's right.
So when I heard it at the Christmas party, the original thing that I heard was that somebody had hydroplaned from the rain, and then that set off a chain of events that ended up sweeping up this Frederick County Sheriff's deputy and then involved a tractor trailer and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm glad she's okay. I'm glad. I also heard that I knew she had a concussion. That was one of the – and I only knew some of this because one of the people that my husband works with is with Frederick County Fire and Rescue. So he was on scene. But he said she didn't know her name. She didn't know what day it was. She didn't know where she was when they got to her. Yeah. So her concussion was pretty severe, at least initially. Now I know, in the heat of all of that.
Yeah, and you get it back.
It
but
doesn't.
That's still crazy, and I just feel like I'm covering way too many hit and runs. Like I feel like I see this way too often. Not that this was necessarily a hit and run. It sounded like driving erratically caused the accident, drove away. Likely drove away because they were under the influence of some narcotic or alcohol or something like that, and didn't want to get caught and were afraid. Sometimes you just got to face the music though, and do the right thing from that standpoint. But it's just.
There's a lot of crashes, a lot of vehicle
driving
issues.
Drunk, too many hit and runs. It's nuts.
So let me give you a palate cleanser.
Yes, please, some good news.
Let's talk about a bomb threat.
Okay.
Because we haven't had one of those in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It didn't involve a school.
That was good.
That's always good.
That was good.
But it did involve Bitcoin, which I think is hilarious considering you and I just had a conversation last week about how I was joking with my kid about, giving him Bitcoin for Christmas because he wouldn't tell me what he wanted.
You are so caught. You are so caught red-handed. You totally did this.
So, what? What do we know what business it is? Because you didn't actually say that, so I didn't know if.
They did not list what business it was. No, they didn't. They just listed the approximate address. Yeah. I think it was the 900 block of
700 block of South Loudon Street.
700 block South Loudon. And so but basically this was actually it was kind of surreal finding this one because I was also seeing it covered by CNN, and I shot an email off to Lieutenant Bean and said, "Hey, is this at all connected to this? And can you give me the lowdown on this?" And she did. But it was a part of those. There were 2 other bomb threats in Frederick County. This one was in Winchester and was directed to this business. And basically, the threats came in via email, and they threatened to bomb the place, and they demanded Bitcoin. And it happened not only nationwide, internationally. They got reports of this in New Zealand.
So it was like this whole big staged attack with all of these different places.
Yeah. And it's just sort of, when you read about it being international like that, and it also happened locally in 3 different places locally.
In a tiny little community like ours where we tend to think that kind of stuff doesn't happen here.
It just, it really solidifies how sort of strangely invasive the internet has become. And
so what do you know?
How it touches all of us across the world, no matter what.
What do you know about the Bitcoin?
The Bitcoin? I know it's extremely valuable.
Because it's not real money.
No, it's a very stable currency. It is real money.
No, it's not.
It's incredibly stable. Invest in it.
No.
Invest in it.
No.
Invest this whole year's salary.
Because I tried to find a Bitcoin gift certificate. But they don't make those.
No, they don't.
I was going to get, Josh a Bitcoin
gift
card.
It works the opposite way, actually. Like, you can actually use Bitcoin to get coupons to actually get, like, products and stuff, and that gives it a value. And it's sort of regulated by a code online. And what you can do is you can, what they call mine for it, where you actually, like, use the software and engage the code, and you use the processing power of your computer to mine Bitcoins and add them to your account.
So it's like Pac-Man.
No. And it...
where you're swallowing up the little things.
Well, the problem is, like, for the average Joe to get equipment to mine Bitcoin, it costs money because you have to use CPU processing power and maintain those computers and run those computers.
Oh.
And the way that the code's designed, from what I understand, it actually gets harder and harder and harder to unlock another thing of Bitcoin as more people are unlocking things of Bitcoin. So the currency is basically designed. It's basically like. Basically, the Security Exchanges Commission is like tied into the Federal Reserve, I should say, is in the software itself. It's regulating itself, and that's basically its way of like raising it, and
like supply and demand.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The more people find, the harder it is to find more because
it's the mint. It's its own mint.
Well, and I remember hearing on NPR at some point in the last couple of weeks that there's a state in the country now that is actually accepting Bitcoin for payment for taxes and stuff. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that if they take in the Bitcoin and then immediately exchange it at like the regular dollar rate, it's just extremely unstable. It swings wildly, and everybody's convinced that eventually, because it's all based on a code, and that code is created by a human being, it's going to become fallible and it's going to crash, and the value is just going to drop. But it had such wild swings up that people were pretty optimistic because
if you got in at the beginning, it's kind of like the pyramid schemes.
Not only
if
that,
you get in early and had invested in it or found a bunch of it and then immediately pulled it out, you're sitting on a huge pile of real money right now.
Well, yeah,
but you just got to leave it in real money.
Well, they're saying, and when people see a dip in Bitcoin, that's the thing, is like they invest a bunch in Bitcoin when they see like a dip in its value, because then they're like, oh my goodness, it's so volatile that when it swings up, I'm gonna bank on that.
I don't know. Every time I hear the phrase Bitcoin, I just think of this giant treasure chest full of gold doubloons in like a SpongeBob SquarePants cartoon.
Well, like Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin itself is not the only digital currency that exists too. And there was one. I had a friend who was into this stuff and tried to explain it to me, and I'm pretty sure what I just explained to you, like 50% of that was true.
Good to know.
The other 50% was just me not understanding what my friend said. But my friend, he was mining a different kind of digital currency called Dogecoin. And it's basically like Bitcoin, except it's based off of like a meme of a corgi. So the image of the coin on the screen that you see is like a bunch of the dogs. Yeah, it's a wild world out there.
Yeah. Okay, now we're moving on to education, because clearly you and I both need some.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So Ayler Middle School is getting fancy new plans.
Boom. It's, what is it, RRMM. a catchier name never existed.
Yeah.
Vroom, 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 says Robert E. Ayler's replacement, because it's moving forward. It's it's getting there. It's putting itself together. Basically, they went ahead and they committed to RRMM architectural firm to basically go ahead, design and construct Robert E. Ayler Middle School, the whole replacement.
So this isn't just, because usually architects just do the planning and the design, and then another construction company like Shockey's or some other company comes in. But you're right, this says planning, design, and construction.
Yeah, and if you look through RRMM's website, which I'm sure you won't, it basically
I won't, but I do like hearing you say it because you keep.
You'll see that they do a bunch of they do hospital buildings, they do different administrative buildings,
fire stations.
They do public buildings like this. That's their specialty, and they've got offices across Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, well established, and so they're going to go ahead and take the charge. There wasn't really much discussion in the release that we got about what the bidding process was like or where they came in.
Well, and usually what they do is they put that stuff out for, they RFP it, and they have an idea in their mind of how much is the market rate for what they're asking for. So anybody that sends in their bids, it's within that window, they go with the lowest. Sometimes I know that in the past, they've gotten in bids that are way outside of what they expected to pay, and then they got to rework everything and go back to square one. So at least that didn't happen here, so that's not another delay to get Ayler redone.
And August 2021.
Well, and so they're saying that it's planning, design, and construction. So has it been determined that they're tearing down the old school?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know exactly.
Because I thought that was still in the realm of, are we keeping this one? Are we going to put Ayler in a new location? Are we going to tear this one down and build in its current location?
Yeah, I don't know what's been decided on that. I don't know what's going on there. I got to check up on that now. I got so many little stories buzzing through my head. I don't remember that. But
do your job, man.
I'll get back to you on that, Janet, and we'll take another look. All right, do you have anything else?
That's all I got. Can we get to the dumb news? I have
a
public service announcement that is very important for everybody to hear.
And I can't wait to hear it. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, dumb news. Janet's going to be dumb. Mine's going to be great.
What's it called? What do we call it?
The Big Dumb. Thank you for letting me have that. We'll be back somewhere down the line.
It's an award-winning lunch hour every day at noon with the News at Noon and Valley Today. Listen live on air, online, or on demand at theriver953.com. That's theriver953.com.
Hello, it's Janet again. In addition to producing podcasts for the River 953 and our clients, I also host a show every weekday on the air from 12:30 till 1 called The Valley Today. It's a community conversation where I chat with local business owners, nonprofits, government agencies, and residents about what's happening up and down the Shenandoah Valley. You can hear the show live each day on the radio, you can listen live from our website, or you can listen to the podcast of the show each afternoon on our website at theriver953.com from the Valley Today page. You can even subscribe to the podcast in the Apple Podcast app or the Google Play Music Store and have it delivered directly to your phone once it's published. So join me for a conversation this week. And if you're interested in being a guest or advertising in that podcast, send me an email to janet@theriver953.com. And now, back to the podcast.
And we're back with some more Another Look. It's time for the Big Dumb.
This is your favorite part, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Janet, do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
Well, you said you had a collection, so maybe I'll go first so that you can, portray your collection. And it's, and, mine's a public service announcement, so it's pretty important.
Of course it is.
So, and it's from the FDA.
The FDA?
Yeah, that's the Food and Drug Administration.
Oh.
Yeah. It's pretty important, especially this time of year.
Tell me more.
Not all glitter is edible. The FDA said in a warning on Friday. It may look tempting, but that sparkly glitter atop of a freshly baked cupcake, cookie, or other tasty treat may not be safe to eat. Yeah.
That's the whole.
Yeah. They had to reissue.
Oh my God.
Reissue this warning on Friday. Many of the decorative glitters and dust, which are sometimes labeled as luster dust, disco dust.
Hold on a second. We need to talk about what just happened there. Don't you, correct me if I'm wrong, do you always give me crap for pronouncing things wrong?
Yeah.
Did you just say decorative?
Yeah, because that's how you say it.
It's decorative.
No, it's decorative.
Janet, you were so wrong about that.
No, it's decorative.
It's decorative.
I'm telling you.
Who has ever told you, have you ever heard Martha Stewart go decorative?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you're so wrong.
We're going to
about
ask Siri when we're done.
This makes me so happy. Anyways, proceed.
Yes,
proceed.
so
Yeah.
many of the decorative glitters and dust, which are sometimes labeled as luster dust, disco dust, twinkle dust, sparkle dust, highlighter, shimmer powder, pearl dust, or,
What?
and my personal favorite, petal dust,
Sorry,
according to the FDA, can be found both online and at bakery or craft stores.
is there a public information officer a stripper? How is it? And why did she go?
Shimmer powder.
Why did she go straight to, what do they call it? Lust dust?
Luster dust.
That seems like a strippery
sounds like a stripper
kind of,
name.
yeah,
It
that
really
sounds
does,
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah, apparently while some of these are safe to consume, others, not so much.
Not so much.
Especially if the label simply says non-toxic or for decorative purposes only and does not include an ingredient list.
Oh my! I cannot wait. I hope comments blow up. I hope
It's not going to happen because
gonna
people
put
are going to be like, gosh, Dylan, don't you even know how to speak the English language?
I'm gonna make this my Facebook post tomorrow. I'm gonna Facebook post this.
Yeah. So the agency didn't detail the health risks of eating non-edible glitter, but they told Eater magazine
What are the health risks? Hold on.
that it's best to avoid the substance, especially those who have pre-existing gastrointestinal issues.
That is so. I'm sorry, but that's all right. That makes me mad on so many levels. They don't even know what happens to you when you eat glitter. They can't even go into detail on it because they don't know. You'll get indigestion because you put something your body can't digest. That's basically what it is.
Here's the thing.
But it's so small, it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think.
Non-toxic glitter may not kill you, but don't eat it. At least not regularly or in large quantities.
Once a week,
Yeah.
with a glass of wine.
Okay, get ready because here's the kicker.
Yeah.
The warning follows a similar one posted by the FDA in November and comes as a glitter trend has apparently taken over aspects of the food industry, MarketWatch reported in May. In fact, in 2014, some people were reportedly swallowing glitter pills in the hopes the substance would make their poop sparkle.
Wow.
I gotta say, I'd be a little concerned if my poop sparkled.
Well, now, if you took a glitter pill, you'd be ecstatic.
Yeah, but what if
Mission
you
accomplished.
ate a cupcake that had what you thought were normal sprinkles that apparently were
And then
actually luster dust,
Yeah.
and then unknowingly 2-3 hours later, you take yourself into the restroom and
Here's the
it's
question.
glittering back at you.
Here's the question. Yeah.
It glows in the dark.
Is my stool winking at me?
Yeah, my
My
number
number
two.
two.
Doesn't look like a number two.
Oh my God. Here's
So,
the
yeah.
thing is I just wonder if you see glitter in your stool, is that worth a call to the doctor? Do you call the doc at that point? And then what's that conversation like?
Yeah, and do you take a picture of it?
Oh yeah.
Do you try to scoop it out so you can
Oh,
actually...
no. Try to fish out the...
Yeah, it's like that little box. Oh, my husband loves that commercial for the Cologuard or whatever that you can send in for the colon. Yeah, my husband loves that little talking box.
Oh, yeah, I know the talking box, yeah. Well, maybe, that actually might be an easy way to reuse a condom, is to make it like your fishing net.
Maybe you should dip those in glitter so you know whether you've used it before.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is that the story, Jenna?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Apparently, your glitter is safe to eat if it has an ingredients list. And of those ingredients, some should be listed, such as acacia, which is a gum arabic, sugar, cornstarch, and certain color additives are safe to eat components. So don't eat glitter, Dylan.
Okay. No, I'm convinced.
It will make your poop sparkle. Or not. And then you've got even bigger problems.
we're on the same page, compadre.
Yeah.
No more glitter.
No.
I'm off it. I'm off the sauce.
No more luster dust for you.
You know,
no shimmer powder.
Yeah. Sign me up for the McShin Foundation because I am ready to recover from my glitter addiction. Oh, man. All right, are you ready for what I got?
Yep.
I've got a little. I don't have one story because I couldn't really find one good story. That
So
I like
last week you referred to me as a cheater.
You did
because I had 2 stories, even though one of them we had both
stories.
already heard of, and you said, "Yeah, go ahead and do that one as like a warm up." And then what do after the fact? You call me a cheater.
Okay, all right. Look, this is like, but this is like these are quick stories, like 1-2 punch. It's like Rodney Dangerfield stuff. Take my wife, please. All right, are you ready? All right. So. We're at Saukville, apparently.
I love Saukville.
Yeah, on Green Bay Avenue.
I have coffee cups on my socks
I guess
today.
this is in like Wisconsin or something.
Of course it is. Paul Ryan country.
A man. We said politics was out of it. Come
No,
on.
you said politics. I made no commitment whatsoever.
A man wearing a Santa hat decided that he wanted to take a trip to the Quick Trip gas station in beautiful Saukville, Wisconsin. I love that story. And he did, and he's walking around. It's around 4:30 p.m. on December 9th. He's wearing the Santa hat. Everyone's giving him high fives. Like, oh, yeah, man. Okay, cool. Yeah, great. And then he goes to check out, but then police are called because security footage shows that he picked up several bottles of beer and several pounds of bacon and shoved them in his jacket and pants while wearing the Santa hat.
What?
And tried to walk out.
Okay, but what did he put where? Because the beer in his pants. See, beer in the pants is fine because it's in a bottle or a can. But bacon
in the pants.
You know, that bacon should have gone in the jacket because nobody, no.
Well, nobody wants cold bacon.
No, what if he'd had glitter?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, glittery bacon. That's one way you can tell. And they have not caught him yet. They only have the security footage. Yeah, they came because the guy saw the security footage who was working there, but they only have the security footage and nothing else.
The Santa hat's throwing him off.
And look at the picture. That's a Grinch.
He's got his sunglasses on top of his Santa hat.
You can't see it right now, but it is a straight up action shot too. Like you can see the bacon moving like in like 5 different frames as it's headed for his pants. And he's got a serious look on. Like he smiled as he walked in the door, but then he was all business when he got in the eyes.
He's porking it.
So that that's a term for it. So that is Grinch story number 1.
Okay.
Grinch story number 2. This is a really quick story, but a Florida man did it again.
Meanwhile, in Florida,
is accused of stealing a Christmas wreath off the front door of a home to hang it outside his own home.
Well, what did the wreath look like? I mean,
that is so evil.
Maybe the people were going away on vacation and he knew they weren't home and weren't really going to enjoy it, and people would enjoy it on his front door.
I don't think Angel Romaguera was in that mindset at all, frankly, Janet. I think it was just a straight-up theft, and the reason they caught him was because, Shark Tank moment for you, they had one of those ring door monitor things.
That reminds me, I have something to tell you.
Off the podcast?
No.
Oh,
it involves glitter, so I'm going to include it in the podcast.
All right. And
so they actually got video of him.
They got video of him stealing the wreath. I don't know if they got video of him putting it on his door.
So where did he live? I mean, please tell me he didn't take it off one door and walk across the street and hang it on his own.
They don't say. They just say that he went and hung it outside his own home. Oh, it's about 4 miles from the victim's house.
Oh. See?
So he walked a while. Yeah. He deserves it.
Did he put it around his neck and pretend like it was...
Exactly.
He didn't stop for bacon or beer along the way, did he?
Oh, my God. I never noticed that in this picture. There's a wreath around his neck. So that's your second Grinch story. And the third Grinch story, a female thief who took an Amazon box from a porch in Shamokin got a big surprise when she opened it. Did you read this one?
I don't know.
The porch.
Did it explode?
No.
Okay.
Jeez.
Oh, no, that's my story. Wait a minute.
She's being called the Porch Pirate.
Yes, that's what they call them.
Yep. And so she was a video. It's another video instance here. Shows a woman with a large backpack, and she was carrying something covered with a blanket. She's seen looking at the house, walking past, and then returning. She didn't go onto the porch, but she was able to basically, there was a wrought iron fence there, and she maneuvered the box through the iron fence and slid the box, which is about 10 inches long and 6 inches deep, along the porch to the steps where she could pick it up. Real sneak. and it ended up being filled with cat poop. Yeah, apparently Robert Lynch, who's the owner, said that he forgot to put it out with the trash, and I guess he just scooped it and put it in that spare box that he had. I don't know why it was near his front porch or on his front porch, but it was. And I don't know if it was a sting operation on his part. They really don't say. But even though nothing was really stolen, like nothing of value, he's still trying to press charges.
It's still attempted, yeah.
And he's still trying to press charges.
Well, and that's what all week this week on the news, they've been covering these porch pirates and video of them. And they had one police department, I think in Chicago, were jacking Nikes with GPSs and things like that and leaving them on front porches. Well, last night on Lester Holt, they had this guy who was a NASA engineer. And he has created this box. And so the box, he is outfitted with 4 cameras. They look like iPhones, frankly, but it gets camera angles for a camera from every angle. And he puts it in this box, and it's a glitter bomb. So people come up, they see it on his porch, they take it home or to wherever they're going, and they open it, and the camera immediately starts. So they're getting camera from all angles, 360-degree angles, and then this thing raises up in the middle of it and shoots glitter everywhere. Then as they try to make the glitter stop, phase 2 comes in, and it's the fart spray.
Oh, wow.
It was the most phenomenal thing I'd ever seen. This dude was a NASA engineer, and so they're showing this whole thing, and he was actually sharing video footage because he, of course, can see what's happening to these people because it's connected, and it has a GPS on it, so he can then go and pick it up.
That's amazing.
After the fact. So they showed one of these, and the label, the packaging label, it was sent from Kevin from Home Alone. That was the return address, and it was mailed to Harvey or Marvin and whatever his name is from Home Alone, Wet Bandit Way.
So there were some subtle clues on the packaging that this might not
but
be.
But it showed the video of this thing raising up and boom. I mean, glitter like you have never seen. I hope they didn't eat it. I hope none of it got in their mouth.
Yeah.
Because that could be dangerous because the stuff's not edible.
I mean, you got to be so careful with that. And then, once you taste it.
But then the guy tried to move it out of the way and clean it up, and that's when the fart spray came in. And then, but it showed one in a guy's car, and it started going off with the fart spray, and he's trying to throw it out of the car. And
man.
It was so freaking hilarious.
I love that in the car. That's like the worst place it can happen
right?
to. Like your room, you can vacuum it, whatever, easily.
But you're covered in glitter.
Oh, that's rough.
I think it should be glitter glue.
Did they
Because you can't get that stuff off.
Do they end up catching the guy? Like afterwards? I mean, they have video evidence of him, but do they see?
But well, they didn't get into. They said that they weren't gonna. They weren't gonna dime anybody out. But that this guy,
that's great.
Yeah, and they blurred out the faces of the people that were opening it. I'm like, dude, they deserve to be on the nightly news.
Honestly, though, if I spent that much on a glitter bomb and spent that much time on it, I'd kind of want it back.
Yeah.
I kind of want to track them down just so I could be like, may I have this back? I want to set it up again. I don't feel like building a new one.
So I don't know. Would you rather have a glitter bomb or a box full of cat poop?
I'll take the cat poop any day. Yeah. Just as long as neither of them get in my mouth.
Don't eat either one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Well, that's about all the time we have. But we'll be back next week with some big news. Something just came in on the line tonight as we were talking in the break.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. So we're definitely going to have something to talk about next week. So stay tuned when we join you then for some more Another